won't forget. So we'll start in about 9 minutes, guys. Good evening, Dr. Singletary. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are getting started at 5:05. Good to see you this evening. So again, welcome everybody. We'll get started in just a few more minutes. This is going to be an excellent workshop this evening, and so stay tuned. We'll get started in about 7 more minutes. Hey, what's going on? Yeah. Oh, it moved fine. Can you see it move?
Dr. Hargett, you're unmuted.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Good evening, Samara. It's good to see you this evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes. We're going to wait till 6:05 and then we're going to get started. Again, this workshop is chock full of stuff. So we may go a little over an hour. We might go an hour and 5 or an hour and 10, but it's going to be worth your while. We've got a lot of information to share with you this evening. We have our game. We just have it in a different version this evening. It's not a Kahoot, so we'll see how you like this one. But you still get the prizes. All right. Wow, I think we're going to have a nice turnout this evening. I know if I were a student, I'd need to learn about this. So again, it's good to see you this evening. And for those of you who are new, it's very good to meet you. And we'll get started in about 4 minutes. Just entered. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started in just a few minutes, and it's very good to see you this evening. Good evening. Hello, Renee. Hello, Fatima. It's good to see you guys this evening. Hi, Catherine. Have a nice turnout this evening. And we are going to give you some wonderful tips and tricks. right. So I think we can get underway. We can get started. Again, welcome to Writing for Success in College. And this workshop, as I said before, I'm going to say it again, is full of tips and tricks. And so, yes, Kyle, if you would go to the second slide, and I want to introduce you to Kyle this evening, who is going to be working the slides for us. So if you'll go to the second slide, please. Okay, great. So, all right, guys. So by the end of this workshop, you'll be able to identify 6 steps to writing an effective essay, apply brainstorming techniques for databases for research, understand how to accurately cite sources, understand how to format an APA-style essay. We're going to give you some real tips and tricks here, and identify resources to use for your college essay writing. Next slide, please. So, you know, each week we ask you a question, and here's the question for this evening. What is the most difficult part of writing a college essay for you? You can put it in the chat, or you can open your mic. But what is the most difficult part?
I would say the most difficult part writing an essay is elaborating.
Is to elaborate?
Yeah, for me.
Got it. Got it. Thank you, Simon.
One thing is, at least for me, is thinking of things to write beyond a certain point. Because you can only think of so many points.
So thinking of things to write beyond a certain point.
Yeah.
Got it, Ian. Thank you. And prompting, Renee says, putting all the research together, that is huge. Research, yes, research can be a bear. Drafting can be interesting. Finding proper sources, okay, great. And editing, that's a big one, guys. So you guys have put a lot in here. Anything else?
Was like spelling, so like grammar and elaborating for me. Those are 2 hard parts for me.
Okay, we're going to give you some tips and tricks for many of the things that you put here this evening. It would take more than one workshop to go through a lot of the things here, but to be frank, some of the things that you've put in here, we are really going to give you some good tips that will help you. And you're going to get a bunch of resources. And Fatima says, I think I'm not grammatically correct and punctuation. Yeah, and remember, you have resources at your disposal. TRIO has advisors and tutors, and your campuses through the Academic Success Center, they have resources as well. You also have some online, have you heard of tutor.com? So that is something that you have through, if you go through D2L, you can find it. And really, it's an opportunity for use it. Andrea, have you ever used it?
No, I've used the online tutors from Broward,
Yes,
like through the math lab,
right.
but I've never used the writing ones.
Okay, so they're similar to the ones that you use through the math lab. It's just that these, you send your essay to them and they will help you with it, give you some pointers, as long as you haven't waited until the last minute. Now, yesterday I did a procrastination workshop, and I'm sure you've been to some time management workshops, but if you procrastinate to the last minute, guys, then there are a lot of things that just can't help you because the resources, you're going to have to take a little bit of time to do them. But we are going to give you some tips and tricks. So thanks for your responses. You guys really, really had stuff to say. Is there anybody else that wanted to say something before we move on? I have had a hard time uploading my paper to the tutor. Okay, so there are, you can go into the Academic Success Center and find some live tutoring, and maybe that will help. You know, some students can use the tutor.com well and some cannot. You know, it's just, it's a matter of, you know, whether or not you can negotiate it. So I'm sorry to hear that, but there are other options. All right, next slide, please. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Davinia Osborne. Now, Davinia has been in our workshops, but I want to tell you how phenomenal this young lady is. She's a professional writer with 5+ years of professional writing experience. Her passion for helping others succeed and her writing skills inspire her to start her own company, Genie Writing, where she helps turn job seekers into new hires with her content writing abilities. And I've witnessed this, and I've heard testimonials of people who have done this. So she's phenomenal with this. As a content writer and lifelong learner, she continues to hone her craft by ferociously reading books and attending writing workshops. Davinia is a proud member of the Editorial Freelancers Association, a professional writers organization that sets the standards for writers and editors. Davinia is here today to offer you tips and tricks on how to write effectively for college success. Let's welcome her.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Hargett. That was quite the introduction. I'm sorry, can you guys see me? I think my camera is like going out.
No.
Yeah, no.
Now
Okay.
we can.
Hi, everyone. So as Dr. Hargett said, my name is Davinia, and I am just really excited to be here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic pre-Friday. As Dr. Hargett said, today's just going to be very jam-packed with information. So my hope is that you take away some of these resources and it's able to just help you with writing college essays. So without further ado, can we go to the next slide, please? All right, so the focus is going to be 6 steps to writing a great college essay. And of course, we have some practical resources to provide. Next slide, please. All right, so the first thing I kind of want to ask is, has anyone been in a situation where your professor gives you an assignment, right? They give you like a writing prompt and you read it, it has a lot of information, but you're not quite sure what exactly you're supposed to write, like what exactly the assignment is. Has anyone encountered that? It's just a lot of information and you're just like, what am I supposed to do? So I have been there, and let me tell you what helps. Definitely you want to read the assignment. You want to read it fully. You do want to take out like a highlighter and just highlight the prompt. So just identify that sentence that's telling you exactly what to write and just highlight it so that you know. And then of course, when in doubt, always ask your professor. Even if you actually think that you know what you're supposed to write, I would still recommend asking, simply because then you can just make sure that you're on the same page. So read, highlight, and ask to understand the assignment. That's step 1. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay, so I think it was, let's see, Ian that mentioned thinking of things to write is sort of a challenge. So I do want to, and I know that's a challenge that a lot of us encounter. I myself encounter that sometimes. So I want to invite you guys to watch this brainstorming video with me. And then we can go ahead and talk about it. Let's go ahead and play the video, please.
Brainstorming allows for a relaxed and informal approach to problem solving. The goal is to sort through everything so you can pick out the best ideas for your pitch. Craft your presentation with this sequence of 3 brainstorming techniques. Step 1. Free writing. Before anything else, loosen up and generate as many ideas as you can. Free writing is an efficient way to get everything out of your head. Set aside 9 minutes to write down everything that comes to mind. Don't stop until time is up. Get all your ideas on the page. Then decide which ones suit your subject. Listing down through your thoughts within the time limit lets you pick out the best ideas that could possibly fit your message or execution. Step 2. Mind mapping. Next, develop creative connections to link your ideas together. Mind mapping is a productive and imaginative way to visualize relationships between your ideas. Start with your central idea in the middle and branch outward, writing all the connections you can think of. Keep branching off with as many connections as you can. Seeing your ideas interconnected allows you to make lateral leaps between concepts, setting your theme and guiding your creative process. Step 3. Outlining. Outlining provides an ordered and efficient way to arrange your ideas in a sequential and logical order. Begin by listing your main topics in Roman numerals. Then fill these out with supporting subtopics listed in capital letters. If necessary, list even more specific points in Arabic numerals. This sets your presentation flow in stone, letting you concentrate on other important points such as your speech delivery or slide content. Brainstorming is a great way to break free and create a pitch that matches your message and goals. Find your way out by following these 3 steps, and you'll be generating new ideas in the blink of an eye.
All right, thank you so much. So I want to ask you guys, because we want to make sure that we're staying in tune here. They mentioned 3 steps to brainstorming. Did you guys catch all of those steps? What were the 3 that that stuck out to you that they mentioned in the video? I want to make sure that we're all on the same page and we're all following along. You can put it in the chat or just say it if you recall the 3 steps. Or at least 1 step. Brainstorming, mapping. Okay, Andrea, thank you. Mind mapping, Ian. Okay, I think we're outlining. There we go, Ilana. Thank you. Awesome, awesome. Okay, great. I just want to make sure that you guys are here with me. All right, good. Let's move on. So that leads us to the very second step, which of course is just making sure that we're picking a topic. So once you understand the assignment, you of course have to pick a topic, pick something to write on. And as the video suggests, you want to start with free writing. So if you struggle with figuring out or deciding what to write, just set a timer for yourself. The video recommends 9 minutes. Set a timer and just dump it all out on the paper. Like whatever you're thinking, just let your mind wander and just write whatever on the paper, or if you're typing it up on your laptop. Then you want to mind map. So you want to pick one of those topics, pick one of those themes, and really map out anything that's related to that topic. Again, just if you want to draw it out and actually draw like a map and connect all the dots, that helps a lot of people. So that's a suggestion. So just make sure that you're mind mapping to visualize those relationships between the ideas that you have settled on. And then of course, outlining, and that's just dealing with arranging your thoughts. So saying, okay, first I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm going to talk about that, and just really putting it into a sequence of what you're going to talk about first, second, third, last. And as a pro tip, and this is especially for those argumentative essays, make sure that you choose something that you are passionate about, because it's going to be easier for those thoughts to come and for you to first and foremost think about it versus actually writing about it. So choose something that you're passionate about and choose a controversial topic, especially with argumentative essays where you have to argue against or for something, because that's going to be, when it comes to research and actually finding information that can back up your statements, you're going to have more information out there if it's something that is hotly debated. So that's just a pro tip. It's research. Let's move on to the next question.
And let me just ask Ian, did that help? Ian, did that help you a little bit? That whole free writing, mind mapping? Do you think that might be something you can use? Because you said that sometimes you can't think about what to write. Did that help?
I think so. I think I can use those techniques probably.
Okay, great. Okay,
All right. Okay, so of course, a part of writing essays has to do with research. So I'm inviting you guys to also watch this video with me about databases and why exactly we need them.
Hello, I'm Bud, and I'm going to show you why you need library databases for research. By now, almost everyone is familiar with searching the web. But have you ever stopped to think of what you're searching? Google, Bing, and Yahoo only give you free access to what companies and people have made available to the public. This is great if you're shopping or browsing movie trailers, but is limited when you need to find information for research. Unfortunately, unlimited access to reliable information is restricted because many publishers want to be paid. They won't give free access to their copyrighted content. On the web, anyone can create a website on any subject, whether they are an authority or not. No one is policing the web. This makes it hard to find credible information, which is important when you're doing research. Also, search engines can give you millions of results for each search and only give you a few options to narrow it down. So it's hard to scan the results and find the exact information you're looking for. Now, let me tell you about databases. Databases allow you to find information not freely available on the web. They search thousands of articles and books. You can also find images, charts, and primary sources. Some cover a range of topics. Others are more focused on specific subjects, such as literature, education, or controversial issues. You'll want to choose a database based on your research topic. The articles in databases are from popular magazines, newspapers, trade journals, and encyclopedias. You'll also find scholarly and peer-reviewed articles. They've been chosen because they are written by credible authors, such as journalists, researchers, and experts in their fields. Just like when you search the web, you'll still get lots of results. However, databases give you more control over your results with powerful search tools. Some will suggest additional keywords to use to narrow down your topic. You can further refine your results by limiting to a date range, publication type, and full text. Once you find a worthwhile article, a formatted citation is often available to copy and paste into your paper. Library databases are filled with credible content and give you powerful search tools to find relevant results. When you search a database instead of the web, you will spend less time searching and find better information to support your research.
All right. Okay, thank you guys for watching that video with me. I just want to invite us to answer this question because, again, I want to make sure that we're here. So the video did mention 6 credible resources. I want to point out that he did not mention Wikipedia because anyone can really edit Wikipedia, as most of us know. So just want to point that out. But what are some of those credible sources that you guys caught onto that he mentioned? And you can say it say it out loud or put it in the chat. Okay. Okay, so Google and databases, all right, those are very broad. So there was like very specific resources, like we heard like newspapers, for instance. That was one that was mentioned. What were some of those other sources that you can go to? Journals. Andrea, you're on it. Okay. Scholarly articles. Yes, Emilio. Awesome. Anything else that you guys that stuck out? Because you guys need to know what sources to use for your research. So just want to make sure that you're retaining that at least. So we have journals, we have scholarly articles, we had magazines. Thank you, Alan. Awesome. Anything else that you guys recall? There was like a really olden one that I don't think a lot of people are using these days. Usually they're like in book format, or at least they were back in the day. I think they have like online ones. It starts with an E. This is huge book, huge catalog. Do you guys, encyclopedias? Thank you, Ian. Yes. Has anyone used encyclopedias? Do you guys use those anymore? That was definitely one. Emilio, okay. All right. Most people are like, no. Yeah,
I
so
remember like in elementary school, I used to go to the library to
y-
get,
I
to get
remember.
a page from the encyclopedia.
Yes, with the big, they're like so big. They're like this thick.
Yeah.
Peer reviews. Yes, peer reviews are peer review articles were in there. Thank you, Samara. Alexandra says there might be under the cobwebs of the libraries now. Probably, probably. I haven't seen an encyclopedia in a long time, but those are I'm sure they have digital ones and you can certainly use them. So thank you guys so much. Want to make sure that we're tuned in.
And then
And
let me ask the question,
Yes.
where do you go to get all of this information? Where? They mentioned it in the
in the
video.
beginning,
The library. Thank you, Alan, because you can go to the Broward Library. And when you go on the Broward Library website, which is, you can get it right through D2L, and or you can go on to broward.edu and you can go into the library databases and they tell you how to log in. But if you want to get the resources that Davinia just told you about, the Broward Library is that's where you want to go. Google is just too broad and it's not as reliable as going to the Broward libraries. And remember, Davinia talked about controversial topics. And so remember in that video, it told you that you can find controversial topics in the databases. So there you go.
Yes, and I'm very happy that you mentioned that, Dr. Hargett, because that is leading us right into our next slide, please. Google Scholar. See, Samara's on it. She knows. Next slide, please.
Has it got stuck, Kyle? Give it just a second and we'll go to the next slide.
Yeah, because the next slide, I want to show you guys some resources that you can use to actually access some of these materials. So finding magazines, finding trade journals, finding scholarly articles, all of that. That is certainly needed. Oh, yeah, and I do see that it's stuck. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So do you want to stop sharing and start again? Or do you need me to do it? What do you need, Kyle? Okay, I think that he got kicked out, so he's coming right back in. And so just give it one more second and we'll be up and running again. Here we go.
Thank you, Kyle. This is the world that we live in these days.
Isn't it the world that we live in?
Yeah, let's go back. I think we may have went a little. Yes, perfect. Thank you. So yeah, so that leads us to step 3, which is of course researching and citations. And I forget who mentioned it, but I know you guys kind of threw these out as some challenges as well, like where to go for research and how to cite. So of course, per the video, you want to look at solid sources. So those are the 6 that we mentioned: popular magazines, newspapers, trade journals, encyclopedias, wherever they are, scholarly articles, and peer-reviewed articles. And you want to skim for key points. So when you're researching, I don't know about you guys, but I am looking at anything from like 3 to 10 articles until I really narrow down like which maybe 2 or 3 that I'm using. So that's a lot to read. You want to just make sure that you're skimming for key points. And I forget the professor's name. I think Professor Foster?
Professor Maureen Forbes.
Forbes, I was close. So Professor Forbes talked about that in the last workshop, which was reading for college success, and just that method of skimming and just making sure that you're looking at like highlighted portions, titles, that's the very important information. So you just want to skim for key points and of course save citations. So I did go ahead and take the liberty of including some resources and tools to use as far as where you can find academic articles. Samara mentioned it, Google Scholar. You can use that. Dr. Hargett mentioned a Broward Library. You can definitely go on the online version of that. And these are clickable links, guys. So when you do get the presentation, you can go back through it and click on these links if you just want to, bookmark them for future reference. And there's one called JSTOR as well. That's a trusted source for getting some solid sources. And if you guys are like me, sometimes you may struggle with citations and like making sure that they're properly cited. So what you want to do is work smarter, right? It's great to work hard. That's always commendable, but if we can work smarter and save time, I'm all for that. So there's a citation generator called the Noodle Tools Express. Some of you guys may have heard of it. Has anyone used that before? I don't know. Is anyone familiar? Emilio's familiar. Alexandra's familiar. Okay, good. Oh, okay, Alexandra, you love it. What do you like about it? Can you kind of share like what's the main appeal there? So just for anyone else that's not familiar.
Good night, everyone. It's more so plug and play, and it'll give you multiple or different formats for citing. So yeah, you can actually upload the URL, like say it's an online article and you want to just copy and paste the URL. And if you want to do it in MLA, APA, and they have the different MLA versions and the different APA formats, because MLA might have like a 6 or a 7 or whatever the number system is now. But yeah, it's just it's real. There's a variety of things you can do, or I guess it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it just gives you multiple options. So it's really helpful.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing
Emilio
that.
said it much easily. You can pick and choose many formats.
Okay. Yeah. Amelia said the way you can pick and choose formats and pick if it's from an online magazine or if it's from a journal or wherever. Perfect. So you can literally, if you're on a website, you can put in the website URL. As Alexandria said, you can click MLA or APA, whichever format you need, and it will generate that citation for you. Then you can just copy paste and bam, you're done. So that is included in the resources and tools to use, and you guys are able to use that. And Samara is adding Scriber as well as a resource. Sorry. Which thank you, Samara. Does anyone else know of any other citation generators that maybe you use that works for you? If you do, I would definitely say put it in the chat for everyone to access as well.
And let me just say, while you're doing that, you guys are so fortunate. I had to do a master's thesis, a PhD thesis without these tools, just by reading the paper APA book. And so you having these tools, use them to your advantage. Samara put one in there. Teresa put in the Purdue OWL, Ian put one in, and so on. And Cite Fast, Andrea. So those are some wonderful resources, guys. Use them to your advantage.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that we're putting in some additional resources. I'm all about that. Thank you. So that you guys can have some options. So definitely share whatever resources you guys have as well. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, so I want to go ahead and invite you guys to explore a thesis statement with me. And I'm hoping that I can have a really bold volunteer to read this paragraph. Does anyone volunteer as tribute?
Ian.
Ian, yay! Okay, thank you, Ian. Go ahead.
Hospital job has been a promising future for many. Long thought about as stable companies, hospitals are now facing a society where people with minimal healthcare value quick, convenient service. Some may argue hospitals will continue to grow. However, restrictions on healthcare coverage and competition with other health centers will ensure hospitals become obsolete.
Okay, awesome. First of all, Ian, you read that beautifully. Thank you so much. Like all applause to you. So now I just want to ask you guys, and you guys may have seen it before when Kyle first started sharing the screen again, but in this whole paragraph, can you identify the thesis statement? Which sentence is the actual thesis statement? You can throw it out or get off mute and actually say it, but I want to explore this. All right, Renee, jealous. I hope you're enjoying dinner. That's fine though. Yeah, can anyone identify the thesis statement or, say what you think it is? And anyone, any volunteers?
I think it's, however, restrictions on healthcare coverage and competition with other health centers will ensure hospitals become obsolete.
Awesome. Catherine, is it?
Yes.
Catherine, thank you so much. And you are absolutely right. Carl, if you could press enter. Just press enter.
Just click and then it should come. Yeah,
there you go. So Catherine is absolutely right. And thank you for moving to the next slide. That's perfect. You can move again to the next slide. So when we're writing a thesis statement, we want to keep in mind that a thesis statement has a subject, an opinion, and a supporting reason/reasons. So again, just saying that again, a subject, an opinion, and supporting reason. So I want to go back to that previous slide really quick. Let's identify the subject. In this sentence, what are we talking about? What is the subject? Can anyone share that with me really quick or share that with the group? What do you think the subject is? And maybe you need to read the whole thing again, but yeah, what exactly is the subject? One word. What do you guys think it is? All right, Teresa said healthcare. Warm, very warm.
I think it's warm. Hospital.
Hospitals, absolutely, absolutely. Simon, Alan, Ilana, perfect. So the subject is hospitals. So we've identified the subject. Now, what is the opinion that this person has on hospitals?
That they're going to become obsolete.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. So this person thinks that all hospitals are going to become obsolete. Now, this obviously was probably written before big Corona times, because that is quite the opinion. But hey, it's an argumentative essay. It could be considered a controversial topic because we can certainly argue for and against it, right? So this person thinks their opinion is that hospitals are going to become obsolete. And just to share really quick, obsolete means replaced by something else or outdated in this text or content rather. What is the supporting reason that this person has provided for thinking hospitals, the subject, will become obsolete? What are the supporting reasons? There's two. Emilio, thank you. Healthcare and its restrictions. I'm seeing that. So restrictions on healthcare coverage and competition with other health centers. So again, within this paragraph, we've identified the thesis, and that is hospitals, however, restrictions on healthcare coverage and competition with other health centers will ensure hospitals become obsolete. So going back to the next slide really quick, again, when you're writing your thesis, make sure you have a subject, make sure you state your opinion very clearly, and of course, state supporting reasons. Let's move on. All right, so of course, when it comes to writing a college essay, we have to actually write the essay. So these are things that I know we're all pretty much familiar with, but just want to make sure to state them. Of course, we have the introduction. As a tip, you can try a quote, an anecdote, or a question. Does anyone usually struggle with starting the essay? Like, would anyone say that that's like one of their biggest pain points, actually starting it? All right, Teresa, Ian, definitely. Alan says nope. Alan's good. But okay, so for those of you who struggle with starting, this is my tip to you. Leave it for last. Don't do your introduction until you've already at least done your body paragraphs. It may sound weird, but sometimes you are just too caught up on the introduction. You just need to actually write the body paragraphs where you're explaining your claim and the arguments against it. And then the introduction kind of writes itself, or it's just easier to write after you've started the essay and actually written your arguments and explained it. So so that's my tip to you with I used to have that problem, but thankfully I got to finish all E&C classes successfully. All right, Fatima, that's great. So that's what's up. So just making sure that you have the components of your essay. Of course, it's the introduction, your body paragraphs, typically 2 to 3 paragraphs where you're explaining your claim and the arguments against it. And of course, your conclusion. Now, you guys may have heard this before, but in your conclusion, you want to summarize, not repeat. That is something that sometimes we struggle with as well, where we're just like, okay, how do I wrap this up? You don't want to repeat. You want to just summarize everything that was in your essay, just say a different way. But yeah, so there is that. And let me see, let's go on to the next slide really quick. Okay, so first and foremost, before we start playing this video, I know APA was a pain point for a few people. I wanted to ask, what do you struggle with the most when it comes to APA formats or APA essays? Like, I was curious as to that. Or are we just like great on APA? It's like, does anyone have a preference for APA versus MLA? Teresa said everything. I feel you.
I've never used APA before.
Yeah, I prefer MLA. In my opinion, it's a lot easier. And then I don't know, the whole citation thing is just confusing in general. But yeah, I prefer MLA instead of APA. It's a lot easier in my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Alexandria. So, okay, in the chat, I'm seeing a lot of people are using MLA. Some of you guys are fortunate enough to not have gotten to APA just yet. Thank your lucky stars.
You will.
Well, you will. So,
if you're transferring to a university,
yeah,
you will find that most of them use APA. Not in all topics, not in all subject areas, but they use MLA less unless you are going into the writing discipline, like Davinia. You're going into the writing discipline, then MLA is still, but for the most part, you are going to have to get really comfortable, guys, with APA.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to that point, Andrea said knowing how to do it in general. Okay, great. So I really hope this video helps. We're going to go ahead and explore APA essay formatting.
I'm sure you know APA has a specific format for academic papers. That's what brought you here. This video will follow the 7th edition guidelines in Google Docs. If you're using Word, don't worry. It's a very similar setup. Wait, are you looking for the 6th edition guidelines? Then check out this video instead. If you're in a rush, we also have a free APA format template for both Word and Google Docs. All right, let's dive right in. Hi, I'm Jessica from Scribber, here to help you achieve your academic goals. What's new in the 7th edition is that APA now has different guidelines for student papers and for professional papers intended for publication. This video will mainly focus on the format for student papers, but you can check out the article here for instructions on how to format a professional paper. Cool, now let's set up the basics. These formatting guidelines are applied throughout your paper, so it's nice to have it already in place. Set page margins to 1 inch by clicking File, Page Setup, and 1 inch on all sides. Now click Line Spacing, select double space for all text, including headings. Choose an accessible font, for example, Times New Roman 12 or Arial 11. Let's set up the page header, which is on the top of each page. In an APA style paper, every page has a header, including the title page. For a student paper, all you need to include in the header is the page number. Click on the top of the page to open the header, click Insert, Page Numbers, and choose Right Align. For a professional paper, you should also include a running head by entering the paper title in all caps, like this. But for now, we will focus on the student format. The first page of your paper is the title page. For student paper, include these elements on the title page, in this order. First, your paper title in bold. Then after a blank line, the author's name, your university and department name, course number and name, instructor name, and the due date of the assignment. All of the elements are center aligned with title case capitalization and around 3 to 4 enters down from the start of the page. Next is the abstract. This is a 150 to 250 word summary of your paper. An abstract is usually required in professional papers, but it's rare to include one in student papers except for theses and dissertations. More about writing the abstract in this video. Let's focus on the formatting. At the top of the page, write the section label Abstract in bold and centered. The contents of the abstract appear directly under the label. Unlike regular paragraphs, the first line is not indented. Abstracts are usually written as a single paragraph without headings or blank lines. At the bottom, indent the line and italicize the label keywords : followed by 3 to 5 relevant keywords in lowercase letters unless they're proper nouns and separated by commas. There's no period at the end. Moving on to body text. Make sure to indent the first sentence of a new paragraph by pulling the ruler half an inch. APA style headings are used to divide your paper into chapters and sections. Use title case capitalization for all your headings. Level 1 headings are for main sections, like methods or results. This heading is centered and bold. Now for subheadings, Level 2 is left aligned and bold. Level 3 is also left aligned, bold, and italicized. Indent Level 4, bold, and add a final period. The text then begins immediately after this period. Level 5 is the same as Level 4, but also in italics. Throughout the body text, remember to properly cite your sources with APA in-text citations. After your body section, but before any appendices, don't forget to include a reference page. Here you list all the sources you've cited in your paper. On a new page, center and bold the section label References. The reference entries are placed directly below the section label. You can easily create and save these references with the Scribr citation generator. Then all you have to do is copy and paste the entire list. It's already sorted in alphabetical order. Format the references with hanging indents like this. Pull the arrow on the ruler to half an inch and the rectangle back to 0. We have a more in-depth video on formatting the reference page. Click here. That covers all the basics you need to know for APA paper formatting. We have an entire playlist that goes into more depth on the 7th edition of APA Style. You should watch it too. See you there!
I learned something. I wish I knew all that formatting. That's cool.
That was a lot of information, wasn't it? Like, that was a lot of information. So APA is very detailed, at least to some people, you know. I saw that some people have some preferences for MLA. Some people mentioned that they Fatima mentioned, I think APA is a bit easier than MLA. Is it true? Personally, I think it's a personal thing. Like, I personally find MLA easier. I know a lot of people think APA is harder. It's certainly a lot of guidelines. Samara was kind enough to put in the chat a resource for APA guidelines. Thank you so much. I will say you guys may be pleased to hear that this video, along with those downloadable Google documents and Word documents that shows the actual format for APA, is included as a resource, a clickable resource in this presentation. So if you didn't retain all of that, it's okay. If you're like me, you need to go back and like click on it and really look at it and do a plug and play for yourself. So that is included in this presentation. You will get that as the follow-up, so don't worry. But I wanted to ask you guys, based off of that video, you know, did anything stand out as far as something that was, you know, very helpful to you, or did it clear up anything for you? Would you mind putting that in the chat, or just making a mention of it? Maybe something that you didn't know about that it helped with. Were we all comfortable with APA formats?
No, it helped a lot. There's a lot of information there though. Like I would need to, I'm one of those people who has to have like a hard copy in my hand.
Listen, Andrea, I feel you. And that is definitely why I put it as something that you can click on and download yourself. So when we wrap up, you'll get this presentation as a follow-up, and you can click on those Word documents that she mentioned. You can click on it, print it out, and just like, mark it up however you want to mark it up, so that because I'm like that too. I need, the video is nice, but I definitely need to go through it and like highlight things and like put in my own stuff. So hopefully that follow-up helps. But thank you so much for sharing. Catherine says citations are hard. You're right, Catherine. The citations are hard. So the Scriber tool that Samaro mentioned, and also the citation generator, use it. So that way you don't have to stress too much about citations. You go ahead, click on MLA and put in the URLs.
Did you notice that when you put them in Scriber, they put them in alphabetical order?
What a beautiful thing.
My gosh, you guys have got it made.
Working smarter. Grammarly is also helpful. I'm so happy that you are mentioning that, Emilio, because we definitely have that as a resource as well. And we'll be talking about that. Let's go on to the very next slide.
I'm sure you know
All right. So the last step, of course, is to reread, review, and revise. And I'm very happy that Emilio mentioned Grammarly, because yes, Grammarly is very helpful. And as Emilio mentioned, it's free, which I don't know about you guys, but I love anything free. So definitely wanted to use that as a resource for you. Before I kind of jump into that really quick, but you just want to know that you want to reread. So after you've written your essay, you've done your research, you've written your thesis statement, you have written all the parts of the essay. First and foremost, I would say before you reread it yourself, take a break. Don't immediately, sit down and reread it and then submit that. No. Don't do that. Don't set yourself up, because this is what happens. You've been writing for maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, however long it takes you. And your brain is like fatigued. It's just tired. It's just checked out at this point. And when you're reading, it's going to, if you have mistakes, it's going to fill in the blanks. So you know what you're supposed to have on the paper. So your brain just kind of fills that in. It's like a psychological thing that happens to all of us. So don't set yourself up. Take a break, go for a walk, do some jumping jacks, eat some Chick-fil-A, I don't know, watch a YouTube video, like do something different, and then come back to it. I would say, but maybe like 15 to 30 minutes later, so that you can just, have fresh eyes, fresh perspective, and you're able to actually reread it and see those mistakes that you definitely have on your paper. So reread it yourself. Also have someone else review it for you. So someone that is really good at editing, or someone who likes to read. Like don't ask one of those friends that is just gonna scan it and then be like, oh, it's fine. No, ask someone who likes to read and doesn't mind taking the time to review your paper. You can certainly ask your professor, have them review it for you and give you some pointers, and then of course revise. So again, I'm glad that Emilia mentioned Grammarly, because this is a tool that you can use. You can go ahead and plug your document into Grammarly, and it will tell you exactly what errors you have, what you need to fix, if you have any run-on sentences, if you're using the wrong word, or if you're overusing a word, that that's something that sometimes we struggle with sometimes. So you can certainly use Grammarly to proofread and edit your document as well. And comma splices, I'm not familiar with that. Is that an editing tool as well, Emilio? Or you're saying comma splices? Oh, Grammarly corrects it. Right. Yes. Grammarly is definitely really big on commas. Where to put it, and where you're not using them correctly. It is very much a stickler about commas. So got it. All right. So that's
I think Earlier on, Davinia, Fatima said that she was concerned about her grammar. And so this is going to be especially good for you, Fatima. If you put this, if you put your information in here, that will give you a little bit more confidence. Now, you obviously still have to read it over to make sure they didn't alter something or the meaning of something. But that will help you if you have a real concern about your grammar, Fatima.
Absolutely. Do you guys use are there any other editing tools that you guys use? I know I use Grammarly in my everyday, like all the time, no matter what I'm writing, I always plug it into Grammarly. So I can attest to it. It's really good. And there's a free version that you guys can use. But are there any other tools that, let's see, Word document does grammar corrections and proofreading out loud? Is Grammarly better? Yes. So yes. I would say, I would say yes. So definitely take advantage of Word, right? Because it is built in. So, pay attention to what Word tells you. But what I like about Grammarly is, if you struggle with run-on sentences or, those comma splices, as Emilio mentioned, if you struggle with like overusing a word, Grammarly takes the time to tell you these things. So it goes beyond just grammar and sentence structure. Like it goes a little bit more in depth, and it certainly helped me with perfecting my writing. So I would recommend it, or any other program like it to someone. I would say take a step above just using Word. Like definitely have someone else review it, and definitely try to use another tool. All right.
All right,
All right.
Catherine, thank you so much for coming. We still have the quiz with the prizes, so stick around if you can, guys.
Yeah, so you guys can win some prizes based off of what we talked about. That was the last step. Let's just move on to the next one. I just want to make sure to recap what we talked about. Okay, Purdue OWL, great. That's a great resource as well. Yes, so just to recap, for the 6 steps to college writing, we of course want to make sure that we understand the assignment. We of course want to select the topic, do the outline. Then, you're researching and citing your sources, you're writing your thesis, you're writing your essay, and of course, you're revising using those editing tools. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes. Can you hold the slide for a second?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's on Kylo.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. Isn't Kyle great? Like he's just doing his thing. Like he's the unsung hero of all these workshops. I just want to shout you out, Kyle. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome. I can't stop the presentation and unmute myself, as you can see.
You're good. Andrea, great. I'm happy that you found it very helpful. Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I hope it will be more helpful when you get the follow-up and you can really take your time and go through those, especially those downloadable documents, which actually, Kyle, do you mind going to the next slide for me, please?
And please put your emails in the chat so we know which email you prefer. You will get a copy of this whole presentation for yourself as a Google Doc, and all of the links will be live. So put your email in the chat, guys, so you can get a copy. Go ahead. Yes. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's perfect, Dr. Hargett. So yes, as Dr. Hargett said, all of these links are live. If you guys listen, the running theme here is working smarter, not harder. So I want you guys to be able to just go back to this presentation. I think this is slide 17, if I'm not mistaken. Go straight to slide 17 and click on whatever resource you need. So if you need to watch the brainstorming video again, you got it. The citation generator, you just click on it and it leads you right to there, where you can find academic articles, what we mentioned. Downloads for argumentative essays, argumentative essay samples and also APA samples, you guys have access to the Word and the Google Docs rather. So yeah, you guys can just click on those links and go right to that resource, and you don't have to search it and weed through Google. So just wanted to make sure to make it as easy as possible for you guys to get those resources. Oh, okay. Alexandra's asking me if you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Absolutely. I will put my LinkedIn URL in the chat, but it's also in this document as well on the last page. You're able to click on my name and just get to my LinkedIn profile, which yes, I would definitely say all of you guys can certainly connect with me on LinkedIn. If in your revision process, you need someone to just quickly review your essay and see if there's anything that's sticking out, I could totally do that, because I really like doing that. Mistakes usually jump out at me. So yeah, if you guys are in the middle of like essay writing and you want to just get a fresh pair of eyes, you can shoot me over your essay and I'll definitely look at it for you. No problem whatsoever. I'll be your peer reviewer, if you will. So yeah, there's that. Any questions? And I'm just gonna put my LinkedIn in the chat.
So we now are going to do our little game. And again, here's a page with all the resources, guys. So take advantage of this presentation. So if you can stick around, we're going to do the quiz game, but I just want to remind you that next week we have our learning preferences workshop. And the way that I do this, it's not just about your learning preferences, but it's how you identify your teachers or your instructors' teaching preference. And you'll be able to see how well your learning preference gels with that particular professor's teaching preference. So stand by for next week's workshop. Now we're going to go to our game, guys. Get ready. This is a new website. So you're going to go, and this is, even though it's got spaces, but do not put the spaces. Just put joinmyquiz.com. So in your browser on your phone, just put in joinmyquiz.com. And we'll wait on you. Once you get in, you're going to put in the game code. As you see, it's 397435. Now, before we get started, I always like to ask the trio advisors and the director who's in the room, anything you want to say to the students this evening, or are we good to go?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we're good to go for this week. You guys, make sure you check your D2L page for all updates with the TRIO program. Thank you.
All right. Check your D2L, guys. All right. So here we go.
Dr. Hargett, do you want to remind them what the prizes are, just for anyone that's new?
First prize is a $25 gift certificate, an e-gift certificate from Amazon. So when you go onto Amazon and you get the gift certificate through your email, it comes with a code. When you go to checkout, you can just use it right there as if it's a credit card. And the second prize is 20, and the third prize is 15. So you have to be right and you have to be fast, just like Kahoot. But this one's just it paces just a little bit slower than Kahoot. And so we'll see which one you like the best, Kahoot or quizzes. So we're waiting on a few more folks. If you want to join, just say, wait on me. Anyone else? Okay, we've got Ian. Anyone else before we get started? No? If you want us to wait on you, just say wait on me, or else we're going to get started. All right, here we go. On the web, anyone can create a website on any subject, whether they are an authority or not. True or false? All right, Ian. Wikipedia was mentioned as a credible source. Your conclusion should repeat the information in your essay. Outlining is when you visualize relationships between ideas. Right? Grammarly is a tool you can use to edit and proofread your paper. You guys are fast. A thesis has a statement, an opinion, and supporting reasons. Oh, wow. In APA style paper, every page has a header, including the title page. You guys are fast. The first header of a new paragraph in APA should be indented by pulling the ruler half an inch. You can use a citation generator. For student APA style essays, you should write the title page in the following order. Paper title in bold. All right, let's see who's won our prizes this evening. First place, Andrea. Second place, Simon. And third place, Ian, this evening. Congratulations, guys. And that was not an easy quiz. All right, guys. Any questions? Renee said she thought she won. Did Renee win? I will go back and do a second look, Renee. All right. So, any final words before we end the workshop this evening? Was this workshop helpful in terms of writing for college success? Go ahead, Teresa.
Very helpful. Definitely needed. It's like a refresher. I just have two questions. This is from the topic area of database. What is SARS? I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it, never seen it. Nothing.
You mean is it the type of, what is it, SR?
IRS.
Okay, somebody put it in the chat. What is that? Is that a type of database, guys?
It's a database that I saw when I went on the library. So I thought that was what we're supposed to type.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
Sounds like that.
It's a database.
It's a database. Okay, and then what about peer reviews? I've never seen that either.
Peer
Okay,
review.
go ahead, Davinia.
Yeah, peer-reviewed articles. So when you we're talking about peer-reviewed articles. So when you're looking at resources to cite, you want to look for peer-reviewed articles. And those particular there was 3. I'm not sure about the SARS. That was a new one for me. But the Broward College e-library, the JSTOR, and Google Scholar, you can search specifically for peer-reviewed journals within those databases. So that's just another type of resource that you can use, that you can cite. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wanted to ask
And
this
you
question.
you can certainly say if they are peer reviewed. And what that does is it adds another level of authenticity and credibility when you're looking for articles that are peer reviewed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank both of you.
All right. Anyone else? You have any
You're
questions?
very welcome.
Any statements that you want to say? If not, again, it was great seeing you this evening. We had a wonderful turnout, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Same place, same time.
And congrats to the winners. Y'all take advantage of those
yeah.
Amazon gift cards,
Now
because
you
if you
have
don't,
1 week.
if you don't, I'll take them.
Please
1
post
week
your
to
email
claim them.
addresses.
Just 1 week you have to claim the gift cards.
Please post your email addresses. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
See you
Hold on, Miss
later.
Davinia. Yeah, Miss
yes.
Davinia, can you please put your email in the chat?
Oh my God, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. This is the best one to reach me. And in the follow-up, you'll get like contact information for me as well. So, but I probably should have put my email. All right. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Take
You're
good
welcome.
care, guys.
Have a
Good
great
night.
night.
You too. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
My pleasure.
Good
Bye,
night.
Ressa. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Ian.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too.
Oh, and one last thing. Make
Sure.
sure that you guys email me through the school email, because I received it in one of my personal email accounts last week.
Okay, did you put it, did you put your
I did
school?
put it in the chat, and I put it in the chat that time as well.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yes.
that's my
All right.
bad, because I may have found it from somewhere else. but
That's okay.
We'll
That's
make
okay,
sure
because my
that it goes.
login is different from yeah. So,
Okay,
all right. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
good
Good night.
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 Good night.
All right, bye. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Hi, Lana. How you doing?
Good. I just want to tell you that I think you did an amazing job.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
You're so sweet. Thank you so much. You have yourself a wonderful night, okay?
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Jermaine Lee, are you there? Okay.
Jermaine may have walked away. Yeah, you're
I
recording.
just don't have Ian's address again here. So I'll just look through it.